Are we live?
We're now live.
Did we get me getting myself as a doofus?
I don't know. We're now live on Instagram. We got YouTube and Facebook, Instagram in the building. Did we miss it last week? Was
Nope,
that last
the
week?
week before.
That was the week before. So thank you for joining us at our Live at 5 Q&A. We're happy to be here. We're excited to be here. We're talking about all kinds of fun stuff today. Which one of those two topics should we start with first?
Let's start with intuitive eating. I feel like that's a super, super popular subject. Or not popular, but much asked questions about.
Crystal doesn't know how to speak.
I don't know how to speak.
All right, so our two topics today are intuitive eating and how to go about losing over 100 pounds if need be. So we're going to dive into intuitive eating first. I feel like I'm not really in the Instagram frame.
Sure aren't. It's all about me.
All right, so intuitive eating. I almost never intuitively eat because I prefer tracking macronutrients. I like to have that data. I like to have that knowledge because I'm always doing self-experiments on myself. I'm always doing
experiments on myself.
Yes, that was kind of a double whammy.
Redundant.
But I'm always doing self-experiments. I like to see what the data shows. I like to play with things. And because I like to do that, what can be measured can be managed. So I'm always a fan of tracking. If there's ever a very specific goal that I have, whether that's like losing body fat or building muscle, trying to optimize for any one goal, I always recommend tracking. However, I am currently intuitively eating. I have not tracked macros now for probably close to a month. 3 weeks. 3 weeks for sure. And here's why. I did my competition prep, tracked everything to the gram. Did my reverse diet, tracked everything to the gram, but I had a little bit more flexibility. And then I did a 5.5 day fast. Obviously didn't track anything because I didn't eat anything. Out of that 5.5 day fast, I've been intuitive eating. So about 3 weeks now. The reason I'm doing that is because when you go from periods of tracking very strictly, it's good to kind of give yourself a brief moment of intuitive eating so that you can maintain that healthy relationship with food and have this like just intrinsic knowledge of how your body responds, what satiety is, what fullness is, what hunger is, and kind of have all those signals coming in independent of tracking macronutrients. So I am a huge fan of intuitive eating. If you're just trying to maintain, and I would not recommend that, I would try to always have a goal, but if you're just trying to like live life and not focus on the foods you're eating at all, obviously eat healthy, quality, nutrient-dense foods. But if you do that, you can get away with pretty much intuitively eating if you're at the right composition that you prefer and desire and feel comfortable at. So yeah, it's kind of like just a high-level view on my take.
I would say my favorite way of like intuitive eating is intuitive eating and then tracking, which kind of sounds like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But it really works well for me. I like to just eat all day long. And then when I get to a point where I'm like, I'm probably done eating for the day, or this is what I anticipate having for my next meal and my last meal, then I kind of know what I'm already going to be eating for the day. I will then track all the things that I've eaten throughout the day and see where I'm at, because I want to tell where I'm at when I intuitively eat. Because a lot of the time I will actually undereat, and I don't want to do that. Or sometimes I'm like, it's like right before my cycle or something, and I'm eating like a madman, and I need to know. Mad woman. And I need to kind of keep an eye on like what I'm doing, why my body's doing what it's doing. And so I like to keep track of it. So if tracking is something that's dangerous for you, that's kind of like the way that I like to play with it. If I'm under calories for the day, then I make sure to eat a little bit more. If I'm over, then I'm like, we're good to go. There's probably a reason I'm eating a little bit extra. I'm one of those types that like really tracks my cycle though. So
I got some tough love for y'all real quick. You ready? If you are not happy with your current physique, you're not healthy, you don't have the composition that you desire, you have a lot of weight to lose or a lot of weight to gain, and you don't really have any familiarity with tracking your macros, then you don't have the right to intuitively eat. That's a pretty bold statement, but check this out. If you've never really tracked macros before, then you don't really know what 6 ounces of ground beef looks like. You don't really know what a pound of bison looks like. You don't really know what, 18 ounces of Swiss chard looks like. So your intuitive eating obviously hadn't got you to the point where you want to be very well thus far. And if you have never really tracked before, then you don't have that intrinsic knowledge of what food looks like on your plate and how much weight that is, what the macronutrient load of that food is. So like you need to have that basic skill set. Like I cannot track at all now, but since I've tracked for so long, knowing pretty close and within reason of how much a certain thing has with calories, proteins, fats, I can pretty much get away with not tracking it and getting well within my healthy window of proper nutrition. If you have never tracked before and you just feel like, oh, I should be able to intuitively eat, but you're not happy with your current composition, then you don't have the right to just intuitively eat.
I will say there's one step before you get to Robert's like hardcoreness. If you are just eating a standard American diet, if you're just eating a bunch of junk food, if you're eating a bunch of processed food, your first step is going to be to eat whole foods. And it's okay to try to intuitively eat with whole foods and see what happens with your body. But then after that, if you're maintaining or staying the same and you want to get somewhere, then it's your chance to count your macros and track your food and things like that. But if eating whole, healthy foods and you're not getting to your goals, then maybe it's time to look at what you're actually eating, how much you're intaking, what your micronutrients look like, what your macronutrients look like, all of those things.
Video is lagging on YouTube. I'm
That
sorry.
stinks.
It's not good.
Should we?
Lucy says, I like tracking after eating intuitively as kind of a
Yep.
self-check.
Same. That's exactly what I do. Mm-hmm.
So should we go ahead and dive into the losing 100 plus pounds?
Sure. Go ahead. Take it away.
All right. So I have never lost 100 pounds. However,
neither.
I have lost, I think I lost 70 pounds in a 12-week period. I don't recommend it. So I went from 230 to 155 or 150. That's 70 pounds, right? 50.
To what?
60, 70. That's 80 pounds. 50, 60, 70, 80. Yeah. I lost 80 pounds in 12 weeks. And that was effective in the sense that I was able to lose a lot of weight, but I lost a ton of muscle in the process. I developed a very bad relationship with food. I was very disordered in my eating, and it was just a mental nightmare. So it's not about speed of losing weight. It's about what you can sustain. Look at Gourmet. I watched a video from Gourmet the other day when he lost over 330 pounds. Shout out to Gourmet. He lost it, and then he gained it all back because he did it in a non-sustainable way, and the mindset wasn't right. So once he lost it the second time with a ketogenic approach, he was able to find a diet that works really well for him because it became a lifestyle, and then he was able to sustain that, and he's kept the weight off. I'm super proud of Gourmet. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from that. Do what you can sustain, what you can enjoy, and do it over a longer period of time. When I'm doing a competition prep, I'm going through a defined stage when my goal is to lose body fat, but I do it very, very, very gradually. My goal is to not lose more than a pound a week, because if I'm losing much more than that, I'm probably going to lose some muscle with it as well. So I'll keep my weight loss very gradual, but I make it more enjoyable. I don't cut calories in half right out of the gates, because then you're going to inherently lose more muscle as well. And you're automatically having this like deficit mindset of like, oh my gosh, I'm just cutting away calories. Whereas if you very, very, very gradually drop that, it's like you're not even changing anything. It's much more easy to sustain. Also, if you have to lose 100 plus pounds, you're probably going to have periods in that cycle where you're not just chronically at a deficit or consistently at a deficit. Have a period where you lose 20 pounds and then bump calories up a little bit. Let your metabolism ramp back up. Focus on adding more lean muscle tissue, which is also going to improve your metabolism. With more lean muscle tissue and more calories, you're going to be in a better position to cut calories again in the future and lose another 30 pounds. And you can just repeat that process over and over and over. It's not really going to be super easy to just go from 0 to 100 overnight, especially if you're like eating a whole bunch of carbohydrates right now. You're just getting into keto. You got to lose 100 pounds. Like, don't anticipate it happening in a couple of months.
Yep, I totally agree with that. I think our tips and tricks for losing that much body fat is going to be the things that everyone doesn't want to hear, because they want tips and tricks to lose it really quickly as fast as possible because it makes it so much better. But realistically, when you take the longer, slower approach, you do it a lot more healthy and you feel a lot better. So I think my biggest tips and tricks would be to make sure you're starting out with eating plenty of calories. And that seems like the opposite thing that you want to do, but it's not. You want to start with not a lot. You want to start with a good amount of calories, even maybe in a slight surplus. But you don't want to start low calorie. My other tip and trick is to not go super, super, super low calorie. A lot of people won't start high enough and then they will go super low, and it's so dangerous for your body. And then you end up, kind of like resetting your metabolism to that low level of calorie. And then you don't want to increase it back up again. And you're putting yourself in this really terrible state of just like chronically under eating. So then, like Robert said, take it in phases and do higher calorie, and then do a little cut, and then give your body a little bit of a break. Let it reset itself. Let it feel comfortable and safe and happy again. And then do another small cut, and then do that again, and let it feel safe, and then do another small cut. And it might take a little bit of time, but you're going to feel so much better for doing it that way. Very big. I totally agree with Robert on building lean muscle tissue. Being able to build up your body while you're trying to lose some body fat is going to be great. And yeah, so just go for that. Try to lose some of that body fat while trying to gain a little bit of muscle. And we always say to like focus on one, but it's not impossible to do both at the same time. So go into the gym and start doing some resistance training. That's going to help you a lot, and it's going to help your joints and everything along that journey. Or even start with resistance bands or body weight or whatever you can do. Just like go out and do it. So I think those would be my biggest suggestions. And I've also not lost a significant amount of weight in one time, but I've not. I mean, I guess you have. I haven't. So I haven't been through it myself, but I have had clients go through it. I've had friends that have gone through it, and I've heard the horror stories and the really positive stories, and the really positive stories generally come from the people who have taken it slow, taken it easy, and really cared for their body and allowed it to be healthy the entire time.
One more thing. After you lose 100 pounds, that number becomes like this weird triple digit number in your mind that you feel like if you ever go like gain a little bit of weight and you've total lost only 99 pounds, that seemingly has less significance for whatever reason. Don't let that happen. Like if you're building more weight and it's from muscle, be proud of that extra pound or extra 2 pounds or 5 pounds, whatever it is. Totally. Don't let that weird arbitrary 100-pound number mess with your head. And then after you lose that weight, don't be stuck on that past thing happening as your high going forward. Like that's great. Celebrate that win, but then focus on the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. So many people lose a bunch of weight and that's what they stake their identity on. Mm-hmm. And then they like always go back to the past, like live for the future.
Yeah. How many times can you go back in that 5 years or in that 10 years or in that 15 years later? You want to keep moving forward, and it's amazing, and you want to share that story and that journey, but then figure out the next thing and work towards that, and figure out the next thing and then work towards that, and then you can share all of these different types of journeys.
All right. James says gourmet rocks. Totally agree. And Jonathan says big juicy ribeye, the best whole food. Can't go wrong with a big juicy ribeye.
Yo, hello from Columbus, Georgia.
Kid Row, what's up, man?
Peeps?
Jake Bell says a certain Mr. Savage has me within 2.9 pounds of 100 pounds lost after 2 years of trying on my own and plateauing.
Wow.
We will get you there, brother. Ain't nothing but progress ahead.
That's amazing. Hey guys, greetings.
Sean says resistant bands are awesome. I am a fan for sure.
Yes, totally. It's a great way to do things. Been eating in a surplus, been building for about 7 months, went from 119 to 132, just fractured my foot, sad face. You think I could spare a 3-day fast since I won't be lifting and such opinion? Yeah, you can. I mean, I don't want to say yes, go do a fast. What I would say is, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've been in a surplus. It sounds like you've been lifting. You're not going to lose a whole bunch of like muscle from doing a 3-day fast. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I think if
especially since you've been in a surplus.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like this last time when Robert went and did his deload week, he actually did a 5-day fast on his deload week, and I think it's a really good opportunity to do that because you're not expending a lot of energy. There would be a totally fine time to do a fast. So
James says, in regards to the 100+ loss, how long can you be in a caloric deficit before you have to reverse diet, and how long before starting a new or the next cut? So it's going to be pretty dependent on the individual. It's going to be dependent upon their metabolism and their lean mass. So I can't just give you a one size fits all answer there. However, I would say this: I always try and do like a 3-to-1 ratio. So like if I'm in a deficit for 1 month, you want to be in a maintenance or surplus for 3 months. So like having at least a good 3-to-1 ratio there is a pretty good protocol.
Yeah, I do. So someone said, yep, if I ever figure compete again, I'll be keto. Heck yes. But thinking about keto, I mean, this has nothing to do with like losing the large amount of surplus, but it does go for the like trying to cut weight and then how long to refeed, or how long to increase reverse dieting. And I see that a lot, like so much in competitors and bodybuilding competitors. And they should be really the example of how to do a cut and reverse diet healthily and all of these things. But actually, most of the time, I see people doing it incorrectly, and they're doing a cut, and then they gain some body fat back to like a relatively safe level, and then they immediately cut again. And that is so dangerous for your body. And they feel okay in the moment. They're like, oh, I'm fine. I don't feel bad. I'm this, I'm that. I feel okay. I'm doing okay. My body's okay, until after that second cut or until after that third cut. And then they realize like, oh, like I should have given my body a break. I should have not have pushed it to another competition. I probably should have given it twice the amount that I was cutting in a surplus. So like, what?
Can you tell she's fired up? Her neck veins are popping.
But anyways, if you're going to do a 6-month cut, if you're going to do a 5-month cut, then do a 10 to 12-month increase in surplus in calories and just love on your dang body again, and stop trying to cut and stop trying to compete again and stop trying to like put yourself back on stage. You're going to look so much better. You're going to feel so much better if you give yourself that time to build some more lean muscle mass and look a little bit different the next time you step on the stage,
Reach it, baby.
And that I like to talk about that because a lot of times people who are trying to lose a significant amount of weight look at people who are very lean. And that's fine. That's wonderful. Good for you. But you have to realize that those people who are doing that don't always know what they're talking about. They may look like something you want to look like, but they may not know what they're talking about. They may actually be harming themselves, and later on, you'll find that what you're copying them doing is actually been unhealthy for their hormones, for their body, for their health in general. Not everyone's doing that, but just keep in mind that like that's not a safe way to go about it. You can't cut and then cut and then cut and then cut. You want to give your body a break.
Yes.
Yeah, very passionate about that.
Hey guys, Sean here from the UK. What's up, Sean? Wisdom says, I agree. My highest weight was 337, high of 2018, and after changing my to keto, my lowest was 208, currently 233 pounds because I increased my protein.
Ooh.
Building that muscle.
That's awesome. Today I am down 142 pounds since my heaviest, and play with reducing my calories and easing them weekly. That's good. Very good. Slow and controlled.
Resistant bands have saved me from home workouts with the coronavirus.
Yes, totally. Thank you for addressing this. So many people trying to remain in a deficit for too long. I know it is so sad to watch people continually undereat.
Oh, that's a good question. When lifting and building muscle, can your pants feel a bit tight? Will it all ever even out? So I cannot tell you how many different wardrobes I've gone through over the years. I used to have an off-season wardrobe and a competition prep wardrobe because I had such a discrepancy between my building phase and my cutting phase. Now I keep it pretty tight in the sense that I'm only within 10 or 15 pounds of my competition weight. But yeah, if you're building muscle and your pants are tighter, then get a bigger pant size and be proud of going up that pant size, because that means you're putting on quality lean mass to your frame.
Yeah, let me tell you a really quick story. So when Robert and I moved to Arkansas about 3 years ago, I had a pair of pants that I absolutely loved, and all of a sudden they started getting a little bit tighter, which means like, yeah, I'm putting on muscle, but I'm probably putting on a little bit of fat too. So I kept those pants, and about a year or two later, think it was a year or two, yeah, sometime in there, I decided to do my bodybuilding competition, and those pants never fit me, and I was so frustrated, but I kept them because I was like, someday I'm going to get super lean and they're going to fit me again. So at the end of my competition prep, I still could not fit those pants on because I had outgrown those jeans. It's not that I need to fit the jeans. I just need to buy new jeans to fit me. And I feel like your body's always going to change, especially as like a female. You're going to change in all different kinds of ways. And yes, some of it will even out. Sometimes you'll lose a little bit of fat and you'll gain a little bit of muscle. But likely, you're going to have to buy a new wardrobe. And you might just want to buy it as your body's changing rather than buying something that's big or too small. Like last year,
stretchy jeans. That's what I wear. Stretchy jeans.
Last year, I bought a pair of shorts. This year, I refuse to wear them. Like it's just that way. You're gonna feel more comfortable in one thing than you are another.
You do some squats, you get a badonkadonk.
How do I know what my metabolism is like?
Ooh, that's a whole other topic in itself. So there's a lot of different ways to talk about metabolism. If you're eating a pretty solid intake of food, I don't know any of your stats, but like, I'll just use me as an example because I know me. So when I'm ramped up on my metabolism, I'm eating enough food, your body is like a furnace, as an analogy. So like if you put more fire into a furnace, it burns hotter. I put more food into my body when I'm coming out of a cut and I feel hotter. Like I legitimately feel warmer. Like I get hotter at night when I sleep. I feel warmer. I feel like everything's really hot. Weird. It's weird because your body is burning those calories. I have more energy. Like when you're in a caloric deficit and your metabolism is run down, like you have to get amped up to open the door. Like you don't feel like walking across the room. Like extra energy is just not there. You don't have the fidgets. You don't whistle. You don't do jumping jack. You don't do anything. Like you minimize your bodily movement, your NEAT activity, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT. But when your metabolism is ramped up, you're just like bouncing off the walls. You're doing things. You're like fidgeting like I am right now because I have all this energy in me. Plus, you can get away with eating more calories without it having an adverse effect. It doesn't just equate to more belly fat tissue because your body's using those calories. You'll see an increase in lean muscle mass. Like you just feel better. Your performance is better. Your sleep is better. You're waking up better. Everything's better. It's kind of arbitrary and abstract, but hopefully that sheds a little bit of light. We could go into a deep rabbit hole about like all kinds of equations and everything. But honestly, the best insight is how you're feeling. Like if you feel like you've got a bunch of extra energy and you're able to eat at a high caloric intake for your size and stats and it not just turn to body fat, then you're probably doing pretty good on metabolism.
Bison or beef? Both.
Both. Bison's pretty lean though, so I like to get fattier beef.
Beef, yeah. Do you use any carb ups or stay 100% keto?
Stay keto 100% of the time. 100% of the time keto, all the way.
What? My brother's on here.
What's up, Cham? What about this one here? We got when lifting and building muscle, I already read that one.
Oh. That's funny.
We need more questions on YouTube and Facebook. Come on, y'all.
Oh, I was just
fire
It's
away.
funny that looks different on there than it does on there.
Yeah, so we need more questions, y'all. We need more comments, questions, concerns, feedback. What's going on in our life right now? We got a lot of stuff going on.
There's so much going on right now.
This month has been a doozy.
It has been a little bit not so fun.
Good things in the works. James says, I have lost 125 pounds so far, 2 cuts, but the last few pounds are hanging on, about to reverse out and heal. Then a third or however many it takes to get healthy. Not looking for fast, looking for healthy. Awesome, man. That is 100%
awesome.
The way to do it. Proud of you, brother.
Is Trevor still with y'all? No, he is not. He went home this morning.
Thanks for all the help you offer. I would be lost without people like you guys. Well, we are here to help, man. Anything we can do?
We would be lost without you guys, too.
Yes, true that. Sherry says, love you guys.
I love you, too.
What else we got question-wise? Anything else?
Should we pick a question for next week?
Yeah, we can do that.
A topic for next week? I don't know.
Peanut butter brick was so creamy. Yum, yum. Thank you.
You added an extra yum.
Oh, yum. Thank you.
I don't know if I'll be here next week.
Yeah, we got to figure out if you're going to be here next week.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going to be out of town for a couple of weeks. But should should I join one of the lives? And if so, I feel like I can only do it on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Well, we can do like a screen share on Instagram or something if we're separate. Like I can add you on Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I can't do it on these ones.
But I'll be here, and maybe I could show. I don't know.
Okay.
Any brick news in the pipeline for keto? Any big news in the pipeline for Keto Brick? There is some massive, colossal, earth-shattering news in the pipeline for Keto Brick, and it's not just Keto Brick; it's the entire kit and caboodle and shebang. Live Savage apparel, Live Savage, Keto Savage, Lady Savage, everything and all the above.
Everything Savage you could think of.
But we just don't know the details yet. We keep getting delayed on some of these details. We were supposed to know the details tomorrow, but they pushed us back another week on the details.
Because
so
people love us.
We will let you know as soon as we know.
I've been watching you guys grow since I went keto 3 years ago, and I am a brick junkie.
That's awesome. Well, if you're going to be a junkie, a brick junkie is the way to do it. All right, what do I miss here? You need to be here.
Yeah.
What do you look at for when checking progress pics? Do you go part by part? Yep, part by part. And here's why. Generally speaking, whether you're male or female, you've got like area, like for instance, males tend to hold most of their body fat in their butt, lower back, and lower abdominals. Women tend to hold it in their triceps, their hips. That's pretty much.
Is that supposed to be our question for next week, or is that a question for now?
No, I'm just rolling with it now.
Whatever, yeah.
But everybody's going to be a little bit different, and you can't really spot train fat loss, but different parts of the body are going to lose fat a little bit quicker than others. If you're only looking at one part, then you would never really know. If you're only looking at the scale, you would never really know. Mm-hmm. So like being able to pick apart each body part and actually see what's changing is key.
Yeah, I think that a big part of like progress pictures, I even had like my dad here, we were comparing his pictures back to back, and he couldn't see a lot of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at how much like closer together your back seems. Like it doesn't seem so wide because he has lost the extra layer of fat that it actually looked smaller. So make sure that you're taking like pictures maybe like in the same spot or in the same lighting so you can tell a difference between the two. But look at every single aspect of it and take measurements too while you're at it. And then maybe look at the measurements like, oh, I've lost 3 inches in my belly. Let me look at my belly pictures and see what if I could see a difference.
Then it says, can't wait for new Live Savage apparel. Yeah, we are stoked about it as well. Sorry it's taking so long as it is.
Enjoyed the story on how you guys met on Million Pound Mission podcast. I have to listen to that one. I haven't listened to that one yet.
You got to. That went live Monday.
Brick
Junkie for life, James as well. Yes, indeedy.
Excited to hear. Looking forward to it.
I think this is the question for next week right here.
Okay.
Help with healing a bit of joint pain. Do you lay off the weights? What's the best thing to do? So that's going to be our question for next week. We're going to dive into joint pain. We can talk about deload weeks. We can talk about improving and recovering, all that good stuff. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
So, ta-ta for now. Take care, and we'll talk to you next week. Appreciate y'all for jumping on.
We love
y'all,
guys.
and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.